Okay, hold on. Okay. So I want to welcome all of you here tonight to Next Level Career Growth, Define, Design, and Step into the Work You Were Made for. I've had conversations with each of you individually and hope to have more as we go along. This is intended to be very interactive. All right, there is a small group here with us tonight. There are probably 4 or 5 more that will be signing on, not maybe tonight, but through the rest of the week. So if you have thoughts or questions, please interrupt me. It's about probably 25 or 30 minutes of me, and then the rest is Q&A and commentary and anything else you want to know. And I will take you through every step of job search based on my 12 years of doing this work and 645 clients that I've had the privilege of working with in that period of time. So with that said, let me get to here. This is what we're going to be talking about all week. Tonight is all about get paid and your purpose. Figuring out what your purpose is and why, and how you can get paid for it. And we'll go into that in detail. You can see the rest of the days are your career selling point is what's your value proposition and how well you're communicating that in your resume, your LinkedIn profile. The next day on Wednesday will be Power Moves, Network Smarter, Land Faster. How do you get your new credentials out in front of as many of the right people as possible? And then the most fun day for me is day 4, which is interviewing and negotiating. Most people think they're really good interviewers, but what I find is people are good talkers are not necessarily good interviewers. And day 5 is going to be how do we turn this whole week into your breakthrough year? There'll be very short homework assignments that you'll be able to do probably in 15, 20 minutes, maybe even while we're on the call, but they're designed to stack on top of each other so that by the end of the week, you're ready to go. There's another part of this will be the opportunity to either number one, have access to these recordings for as long as they're out there. I'll make that available on Wednesday night. Number two is to set up a conversation with me about working with you individually and directly. Like I said, I've worked with 645 clients over the last 11 years. So with no further ado, what's most important? And these are some questions, again, people will sort of ask themselves, but I will ask you directly, right in your face. I will be very direct about this. What's most important in your current career or job, and what's going to be most important in your future career or job? And importantly, how does your career fit with your life goals? And then I just want to set that up as being the framework for the entire 5 days. So if you have that in the back of your mind, as we're going through all of this, you're going to get to the finish line or to the goal more quickly than if you didn't. Again, that's why I want to set those 2 questions up. I also want to allow everybody to have a brief introduction. If you could just say your name, where you're from, what you're doing currently, and what you're looking to gain out of the 5 days this week. So I guess Dorothy, we'll start with you.
Oh, gee, thanks.
You just happen to be first on my screen, so that's
Oh, okay. I'm my name is Dorothy, and I'm real estate appraiser, and I've been a real estate appraiser for 40 years, and um, I would like to be doing something else. I want to do something where I can actually help people. Years and years ago, in my fantasy, I would have become a psychiatrist instead of an appraiser. So I don't
although
know how that translates into what I could do now at 69 years old, but it's where I would like to go, is to be able to help people and do things to help other people.
sounds great. And there are a lot of different ways you can do that, and hundreds, even thousands of them. So some of the what we're going to be talking about tonight is the exploratory process around the umbrella that you want for yourself, your career, your life. So thanks, Dorothy, for that.
Thank
And
you.
next, Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott. I'm from New Jersey, and currently, right now, I'm in a state of flux. I'm a retired school teacher, but I'm sending my applications out again after being out of teaching for 10 years. I retired early to become a full-time author and get into TV production and other things related to that. Long story short, I had some limited success with that. I did get a book completed. I did do a lot of TV interviews, or a fair amount, I should say. And Now it's an issue of regrouping for financial reasons, and I would still love to teach through my book talks and things like that. But now I've got to get real practical and say, well, how am I going to pay the bills um, in a more financially secure manner? So right now, the money issue is a big thing, but I would still love to do the book and the media aspect, but we'll see what happens.
And Scott, a little bit about your book and the reason for it and all of the, just a summary of what it is that you've described.
All right, so the book that I have on the market now is called Nine Yanks and the Jerk. It's about one of my father's most dangerous missions in World War II. He flew alongside the movie actor Jimmy Stewart. Stewart was the squadron commander. So I felt compelled to write the book shortly after my father died. I had asked him to write it, but I knew he wasn't a writer. So me being the history teacher, it would fall to me, and I was all too glad to do it. And so I've been on TV for a few interviews related to the book, and I have actually two producers who want to turn it into a docudrama. So I would really love to see that materialize. That would actually, it might actually keep me from going back to teaching if that were to happen sooner rather than later. I'm not
Okay.
averse to teaching, but it would not be my first choice.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so it's a legacy that your father left you and you carried the ball as far as you can, at least to this point, although, the story isn't over, but give you a lot of
Right.
credit for what you've done to honor his legacy. And you've been in the service yourself too, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I'm an Air Force veteran. I did follow in his footsteps.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, Scott. Jasmine.
You're welcome.
I am currently a admin for a health and life insurance company, as well as a direct support person for my mentally disabled uncle. And what I would like to get from this is just knowledge. I lucked into these positions. And so like if I were ever to actually need to search and look for a job, I would definitely fall short in that area. And I'm looking to get some feedback from this experience to better prepare myself should that time come.
Okay. Thanks. Imani.
Hi, everybody. I'm Imani. I am 22 years old, and I currently work at Sonic as a server. I became a mother about 7 months ago, and so I'm kind of at a point where I'm just looking for change. I just know and understand I have to do something. I start school in August, but even with that, like I know school is probably the best start I could, the best direction I could go, but I'm just looking for more knowledge and more doors to open. And yeah, so
Understood. Okay, great. Well, with that, I'm going to move on to the crux of the presentation, and this is all about today's agenda, is defining your purpose in as best a way you can, and I'm going to give you a number of prompts for that. The first one goes like this: who are you and what are your dreams? Where are you now? Where do you want to be? As best you can determine it today. And this can be a changing conversation through the months and the years, but if you don't start with something as a destination, you're going to stay where you are, and that's not what you want. Are your search objectives same careers you've had before? I'm hearing no from all four of you. A career change or pursuing a passion? And Scott, you talked about pursuing a passion for the last several years, and it had several roadblocks and speed bumps and everything else that you're traversing over, but it may be time for a shift, even though that passion is still going to stay as part of what you want to do. So again,
Yeah.
as you're looking at this, the umbrella around all of what we're doing is going to be what we do tonight. Why spend time with me? Why can I help you in any of the situations that you're going through? First off, I started working at age 10, literally to buy my own clothes. I'm the oldest of six, and I got really tired of wearing hand-me-downs from my younger brothers who were bigger than I was at the time. And they still are, by the way. I've had 44 jobs since I was to age 10 and a half, and a job counts as something that paid me $1,000 or more. And doing 11 years of career development work counts as one. So I've done a lot of consulting assignments. I've had a lot of different staff jobs. I've had things like driving Lyft and Uber at certain points just to make sure that bills were paid, particularly during COVID. So I know what it's like to hustle. I also know what it's like to present to CEOs because I've done several of those through the years and also presented to the highest level of retail buyers and sales forces and stuff like that. My main background after grad school was marketing, brand management, and advertising. I developed 50 or so new products and services that were introduced to the marketplace. Some barely made it at all. Some were very successful. Also very active in sports, fundraising, and community. Scott and I connected. We happened to actually go to the same church in New Jersey, not at the same time, I guess, but we knew the same church. So as far as career coaching, career counseling is concerned, I was very fortunate when I accepted the grad school invitation that I got at Indiana University to receive an assistantship as a career counselor in one of the leading college business placement offices in the country. And I didn't realize that till I started recruiting at other colleges after I was out of school. So in 2 years there, I probably worked with 700 or 800 undergraduates, helping them find their first internship as juniors and their first full-time job as seniors. One of the things about the Indiana University School of Business, Kelley School of Business, is that there are about 2,000 graduates that come through there every year. There were close to 700 companies that would come through the placement office. It was a madhouse. It was like Grand Central Station. I started working as an assistant, let's call it, to a friend of mine named Henry Lesher back in 2013. He asked me to come to a job fair and help him out. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Just talk to the people who are going to give you their resumes and look for career advice," because the economy, if some of you remember, was really in the tank until about 2017 before it really came out of the recession of 2008. When I started working with clients, I realized it was a whole lot more fun marketing people than it ever was products or services. So I started Careers with Coach Bill. I wrote the book called Finding God's True Purpose for Your Career, which I use with all my clients. I've been an MC at over 200 job fairs in 7 states, mostly in the Northeast, but also some in Florida. And like I said, I've had 645 clients in 11 and a half years. So I've either experienced through my clients or directly a lot of stuff that any of you might be going through. And I'm not saying that I don't see new things every day, but there are a lot of similarities that go along with it. So here's my career mantra, and most people warm up to this. It's kind of the subtitle of my book. God put us all here for a variety of reasons. Career is one of the most important. So it's up to us to figure out and manifest those reasons in the best way that we can. And sometimes that's not immediately available to us. Sometimes we have to take a few steps before we get to where we want to go. But if we don't do the exercise of trying to figure it out, we'll just be continuing on the same pathway that we might be on at this point. If you want to connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn, this is what you'll see. And that is a picture of my friend Eric's backyard patio. And I'm working with a client at that time. It was a pose shot, obviously. But this is what I do with everybody that I can, is create career clarity to find your dream job. And we'll get into a little more of that going forward. So for some of you who are a little younger, and I'm not, are you on the front nine or the back nine, to use a golf analogy? How many days old are you? In fact, this July, I turned 24,000 days. You can do the math. My mother, who was born with spina bifida, they never thought she'd live past the NICU back in 1931. She lived 88 years. We never know how long it's going to be. All I can say is 10,000 days is 27 plus years. The reason why I ask people, how many days old are you, is because years come and go, but everybody knows what 24 hours is. What do you do with the 24 hours that you're given every day in order to make things work? And I'm going to welcome somebody else in here too. Just hold on a second. And Doris, are you there? Wait, I'll wait till she's, well, she's signed in, but anyway, I'll keep going. And is this transition period the opportunity you've been given to make some major changes? Is there some still small voice inside you that you're kind of like saying, wow, I'd really love to do that?
Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you see and hear us?
So Bill, there are 3 of us who got a link to someplace else and we were waiting for you somewhere else. So I'm going to go back and let them know where they
Oh,
need to
you
be.
you were okay. It's on a Zoom link. It's not on. Was there a
Well,
Google? Were you on
3
a
of us
Google?
got the wrong link. Let me just go back to them.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, well, that's on me. I didn't realize that had happened. I put the Zoom link as front and center as I could. Um, okay, is this transition period the opportunity you've been given to make these changes? Still a small voice, or is there some legacy that you want to create? And with that, I'm just going to put us on hold for a second until the other 3 people come back in. Apologies for that. I did not realize that would be a point of confusion. Oh. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Okay, Melody is in. Melody, sorry about the mix-up. I didn't realize that there would be a point of confusion. Were you on a Google Meet or was there another Zoom link that was in there?
It was the Google Meet.
Okay. I should have said that in the invitation that Google Meets was not it. It was going to be on Zoom. That's on me. Apologies for that.
All right.
And hold on a second. Let me send this to Nicole too. And Doris has just gotten on the call. We're just getting started, so okay, we'll go from there. Doris, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just sent the Zoom link to Nicole, and again, my apologies for not telling you that it wasn't Google Meets, that it was on Zoom. Okay, so at this point, and either show of hands or you can just take yourself off mute. How many of you are employed or generating an income? And by the way, this is being recorded, so you'll be able to see the replay on this, and I will get this to you if you want to see that. Okay, either show of hands or just take yourself out. Okay, generate an income. Okay. And how many of you are in transition? And that would be a little bit of both. So there is an income, but there is transition involved as well.
Yeah.
And um, and then how many of you have had a life event? Imani, you had one. You had a baby recently.
Yes.
Any others that, and Jasmine with your uncle and everything, you've had a life event. Anybody else?
Just
Well, my
downtown.
mother's passing back in December.
Okay. These are all things that will get in, not quote unquote get in the way, but they will. Hold on one second. I'll just wait till Nicole is in. Nicole, can you hear us? She's not yet on. Okay. All right. We'll wait till she gets in. Anyway, life events always outweigh career. No matter what's going on, life always wins. And one of the things that I make sure that I do with any of the clients I'm working with is to incorporate any career activities, aligning them with what the rest of your life is all about. So how many of you at some point in your life, or even maybe recently, have been one or more of these? You've been downsized, right-sized, laid off, reorged, let go, fired, furloughed, rift, forced out, or something else. Anybody, just raise your hands. And if you're off video and you could come on video, that would be great. I've been part of,
Can't tell.
and Nicole, you're raising your hand. Nicole, I apologize that I didn't communicate properly that it wasn't Google Meets, it was on Zoom, and I think where everybody's here now, we're literally just getting off the ground, so apologies for that.
No worries.
Um, I've been part of every one of these, some of them more than once. Okay, with 44 jobs, you can't help it. The one that hurts the most is when you get fired for some reason. And sometimes it comes unexpectedly. It's happened to me twice. And one of the reasons I do this work is to make sure that the period of time between when any of these happen and when you're back on the field or you're back in a position that you really want to be in is as short as possible. Full disclosure, after the financial crisis in 2008, I was working as a consultant in the pharmaceutical and healthcare industries for over 4 years. They were the best 4 years of my career up to that point. And then after that, I couldn't find a gig of any kind for a third the rate I had been making as a consultant. And there was nothing, I could have gone to work at McDonald's or something like that. I did not. I had a couple of week-long projects. I did consortiums. I did individual consulting proposals. I did applications and interviews for full-time positions. It was almost 2 years before I found something else. And I will do anything in my power with anybody that I'm working with to have them avoid that experience. It was horrible. There's no other way to say it. It was like having a major, major health scare for an extended period of time. When I got back going again, I had a nice position with United Health Group, which lasted a year because they had a major reorg, but at least I was able to get back on my feet. Okay, so my vision for each of you is to turn this job into a career or a career into a passion. If you happen to be quote unquote on the bench, is to get you back in the game as soon as possible. You'll find that I use a lot of sports analogies. I'm still very active in competitive sports and receive the greatest compensation for what you're really worth and the highest levels of satisfaction and fulfillment going along with that. And as part of that, commit to what's going on this week. And like I said, there'll be some quote unquote homework, but it's not hard. It'll take you probably 15 to 30 minutes to do. But if you put your mind to it, and we have some other follow-ups later on in the week, it'll be very, very easy for you to see what the progress is, and you'll be able to make some big traction by the end of the week. So learn about yourself, identify goals and objectives. A marketing and sales strategy is really important because no matter what anybody says, this is a marketing and sales task. It's the people in operations and IT and logistics who have more technical backgrounds aren't always comfortable with this. But if you don't do the marketing of yourself, which is really developing your value proposition, and then the sales, meaning outreach, and then quote unquote closing the deal through interviewing and negotiating, if you don't do all three of those right, then you're going to be going back to square one. So promote yourself to the proper hiring managers with your communication about what your value proposition is, your search campaign, and then superior interviewing skills. So all of this we're going to cover this week. So what describes you? And I'm sorry, Doris and Nicole and Melody, I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourselves because everybody else did earlier, and I didn't get a chance to do that with you. But are you 10 to 30 years in a career and miserable? Which it sounds like, Dorothy, you fall into that.
Pretty
Did
much.
you make a bad? Did you make a bad choice for an employer or career? Are you in transition, seeking a new path or a better role in a similar field? There are a lot of people that I work with who just happen to be in toxic environments, and it really wears on them. Are you a recent college graduate and it's like, okay, now what do I do? And are you any of the others in 5 or 6, unfulfilled, underutilized, understaffed, underpaid, etc.? So whatever ones describe you, one or ones describe you, this is the right place to be. Some of you may have seen this before. If you have, can you raise your hand? Just raise your hand if you've seen this diagram anywhere
Yeah.
before. All right. It is not something I made up, but it's something I use on a regular basis because everything about what you're doing career-wise should align with this. What you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. And Ikigai is a Japanese concept that's been refined several times since it's, but spread around the world. It roughly means purpose in English or dharma in Sanskrit, but that's not nearly strong enough. It really means, like I put in the bottom left there, reason to get up in the morning. And my goal with everybody that I'm working with or anybody that I'm speaking with is to have them hit the bullseye for the following reason. Everybody wins. If you hit the bullseye and you're doing things that you love, you're good at, you're paid well for, and the world needs, then everybody's going to make have a better outcome based on your inputs. Some of you may have seen this quote before. You'll see that I've pulled a whole lot of stuff off the internet and various memes that I use to make the point. Two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. The famous philosopher Mark Twain. For those of you who maybe have movie references in the 90s, if you ever saw Steve Martin in The Jerk, I found my special purpose. It is not a special purpose like a career purpose, but I'll leave it at that. It was actually very funny. If you ever want to see the YouTube clip of that, it's worth a watch. I played lots of years of baseball, high school, college, semi-pro, and I played fast pitch softball until I was in my mid 30s. So I've broken down career search into a very basic baseball diamond, and it goes like this. Before you get in the batter's box, you need to set your career goals and direction, which is what we're going to be doing tonight. And then after that, you get your value proposition properly communicated, resume, LinkedIn profile, other social media. You may have publications. I've worked with several people who do, or any other thing that represents what you can do to add value. In order to get to second base, you need to have the proper outreach and networking strategy. How do you get your credentials in front of as many of the right people as possible? That means recruiters, hiring managers, company representatives, industry associations, nonprofits, could be any or all of the above. Third base is interviewing and negotiating. The first two are of no value if you can't communicate either on Zoom or in person. By the way, how many of you have had a video screening interview that lasts 2 to 5 minutes?
No.
Imani, you've had it. Any AI bots that you've had to chat with in interview process? It's happening. Okay, I've had several clients who've done. I've never done it myself. I've recorded myself for videos, but not for back and forth with a bot. That's a scary thought, but it's happening. And it's all about landing the dream career, a job that you're really looking for. Okay, so this is the reason why we're doing all of this. And again, I don't mean to trivialize it or simplify it, but this is something that is meaningful to me, and hopefully it'll at least hit the mark for you as well. So the field of career or job search is get an interview for your dream job in the next week with the framework to make this happen. Again, this is the initial agenda page that I was showing you early on. And tonight is dream, then define your goals. And is this the time to make any necessary changes in your life or your career? When you have life events, it really makes you think twice about what it is that you're doing and why. And I'll give you an example, personal example. 6 months ago this week, I was in a really bad car accident. I was driving 60 miles an hour on a clear, dry road at night when a guy pulled out of a blind intersection at about 5 miles an hour. He was trying to get into the median to make a left turn. I had no time to turn, stop, or do anything else. My front license plate hit his left front wheel. I spun him around, completely sandwiched the front of my car. And if my seatbelt and my airbags hadn't been on, I would not be having this conversation with you. And at the time, I was in Austin, Texas, which happens to be where I am now, but that's for a different reason. And I had decided that I would put things off to the side, put my coaching stuff off to the side to help a friend and somebody that I didn't know that well expand their solar business into Texas, solar installations. And it wasn't really working out that well. And it was that accident, I believe, that was kind of a wake-up call, God saying, no, get out of there. Don't do that anymore. You're meant to do this, which is what we're doing here tonight. And it took me about a month to recover, yoga, lots of other exercises and stuff like that, but I'm really pretty much back at full strength. But mentally and emotionally, I'm in a whole different place because now I'm much more focused on what it is that I need to be doing to help my clients get to the place where they want to be. And if something comes into my pathway, and it happens all the time where people are offering me things that, hey, you want to do this? No, I'm sticking to my guns. Okay, so I don't know what that might mean for you individually or other people around you, whatever, but it was a reinforcement for me to pursue something that I've always loved. And I've really, really enjoyed doing this work. And 3 times in the last several weeks, I've gotten calls from a client that got significant increases in their salaries and position title increases, et cetera, et cetera. So it's gratifying on that end. For you, though, is this time to do something you've never done before, or work one-on-one with someone who's been there and back several times, and that would be yours truly, of course. Now, there are some other things. Like I said, I pulled a lot of memes off the internet through the years, and it's not what has happened to me, it's what I choose to become. There are several of you who both raised your hand when there was an income happening and raised your hand when you're saying that you're in transition, which is a kind of a unique place to be because most people either one or the other. Either way, it's your choice as to what it is that you're going to become. I believe God, again, has put us all here for a variety of reasons, and career is one of the most important. So it's up to us to define and manifest those reasons in the best way we can. 10 years from now, 10 years from now, make sure you can say that you chose your life, you didn't settle for it. And those of you who are, let's just say in your 20s, you may have way more than 10 years, and those of us who are not may not have 10 years. So either way, it's you didn't settle for it. You chose it. You took your talents, your abilities, your skills, and you applied them in the best possible way that you can. So working with somebody like me, and we'll talk more about that on day 4, this is kind of similar to a college degree or any graduate credentials and a basis for continued career growth. It's not a traditional expense because let's just say you're worth $100,000 a year. If you break that down to 50 weeks, it's approximately $400 a day. So if you get back to work at a job at that level a week sooner, then it pays out. Okay, maybe 2 weeks sooner, depending on what it is that you're looking to do. I call myself the Sherpa. Like my book is the roadmap, but I'm the mountain guide to get you up to the top of the career mountain. And again, I've done it with over 600 people. And what is it that may be holding you back from what you want? That's a question to ask through the week. And another thing that's in my book, probably 25 of them are different Bible verses. This one applies here is iron sharpens iron, so does one person sharpen another. So take an inventory. Where are you now? All right. And this is, if you want to take a screenshot of this page, it's probably worth doing because where you are now and where you're going to be in the next few weeks or months is going to be totally a result of the decisions you make on a moment to moment basis from this point on. If you're in a situation like I was last fall, I decided to help a friend. I thought I could, make some good money selling solar. It was important that I failed forward fast. It was less than 3 months when I had that car accident and move on and move forward. All of you have had successes in one form or another in your lives, and all of you have things that you can say, hey, I've added value in this way, I've contributed this way, I've had these accomplishments, whatever it might be. Make sure you keep a positive attitude throughout every aspect of job search, even through the emotional ups and downs that happen. I've had clients that 3 interviews in 2 days, none of them worked out. That was a rough call the following week. Remember, this too shall pass if you're in transition. Be committed to a better outcome and it will happen. One of the quote unquote homework exercises is going to be related to the quote unquote science of gratitude. You can literally rewire your brain to be happy and content by simply recalling 3 things you're grateful for every day for 21 days. Scientifically proven. I took a few memes from Rhonda Byrne's The Secret. Gratitude is a powerful process for shifting your energy and bringing more of what you want into your life. So be grateful for what you already have and you will attract more good things. So we're going to take a few minutes, literally right now. Actually, I'm going to take 90 seconds out of your busy day. I'm going to set a timer here. Hold on a second. And ask you to write down, and you can use your notes. If you don't have a pen, just use your notes app on your phone, whatever it might be. What are you grateful for? Go. We're at 1 minute, so 30 seconds. Okay, time. How many, just either show of hands or just, or show of fingers, I should say, or just take yourself off mute. How many did you write down
7.
in that 90 seconds?
Also
Yep.
wrote 7.
5.
Okay. Anybody else?
I thought you wanted 3. I wrote 3.
I wrote same.
Okay. If I said 3, I didn't mean to. I was not intending to limit. But one of the homework assignments tonight is to literally spend 10, 15 minutes and just all the things that you're grateful for. And people have a tendency, I'm not saying everybody on this line, but people have a tendency to say what's going wrong, what needs to be fixed, what isn't right, etc. And that can be constructive at certain times because you want to make things better, no doubt about it. But the other thing is, without taking stock of what it is that you're grateful for, you'll forget all the things that have been the platform for what you're going to be doing going forward. So again, there's a lot of science around how valuable gratitude is. I was reading something recently that said, if you speak positive words to a tub of water and then freeze it, you'll get beautiful ice crystals. If you speak negative, toxic things to this same tub of water, they'll be all over the place, the crystals, when you freeze it. Okay. Again, scientific experiments, and I couldn't believe when I read it, but I did some more research, and that's what it is. Gratitude is the source of all this. One of my favorite quotes that isn't in the Bible: gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. So, homework for today, and then I am going to allow Doris, Nicole, and Melody to introduce themselves. I'm sorry I haven't done it yet. At this point, what would you say your dreams for your life are and for your career? List of what you're grateful for. And if you want to take a screenshot for this, you can. And I'll put it in an email either way. Your career purpose, mission, and objective as best you can define it right now. And one of the things is, again, another internet meme: don't downgrade your dream just to fit your reality. Upgrade your conviction to match your destiny. Okay. Any thoughts, questions? And then we're going to do some additional intros. All right, Melody, go ahead and just name what you're doing currently, where you're located, what you're doing currently, and what you'd like to learn, or what you'd like your outcome to be for the 5 days this week.
Okay, I am Melody. I am in Coldwater, Michigan. Right now, I'm an owner operator of a painting and handyman business. For my outcome, I'm really looking to do something more fulfilling. I enjoy my job most days, but it's not fulfilling. I want to go back into nonprofits, but I'd actually like to get a paycheck instead of just volunteering.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Doris. You're still on mute.
You're right, I am. I moved from New Jersey to Florida in November and have not been working, and I really love not working, but I should work. And so I'm just exploring the possibilities. I'm open. I think I'm a tough nut because I really don't want to work, but I should. So I'm here to figure it out.
So should can have all kinds of connotations to it. And usually they come down on the line or around the thought
Financial.
of, well, okay, financial, but it also goes like, oh, I should be doing something. And so you're feeling guilty about it at some level.
No,
It's really
no.
more financial. Okay,
Yeah, I have a lot of hobbies. I can stay busy doing all sorts of fun things.
understood. Okay. We'll get to all of what you're describing this week. And again, as best you can, having moved to a new area where you probably don't know a whole lot of people. Yes, is that accurate? And that can be difficult. So there's
I know a lot
there's
of retirees who play the ukulele. That's about it.
oh, so there's some grace to give yourself when you're going to a new area.
Yeah.
Okay, particularly if you're trying to find a position where people have been there for years and decades. Nicole.
I'm from Tewksbury, Mass. It's about, I don't know, 30 minutes north of Boston. I had been working for a small marketing agency. And prior to that, I was with a company with a boss that I loved for 12 years almost. And when she left, I didn't really want to be there anymore either. But I ended up getting laid off from that job just because it was a restructure. And I found the company I was just with, the small agency, and I am an expensive employee and they are struggling financially, and I got laid off again. And I think what I'm looking to get out of this is I really struggle to answer the question what I'm looking for. I think I've I feel like I'm very loyal, and I have been when I was with that company for 12 years. I thought I was going to be there until I retired.
Mhm.
And I didn't really I wasn't feeling fulfilled anymore after my boss left. But I really want to be able to interview better and be able to be crystal clear about what it is that I'm looking for, because I feel like I spent the most of my professional life at two companies, one which are very different from each other. And for me, it's definitely financial,
Mhm.
but I do want the fulfilling. But at the same time, I don't know, I just want to be clear about what it is I'm looking for
And
because
can
I
you
don't really
say,
know.
I know you're saying that, you were with a marketing agency in a company 12 years prior. What functional roles have you had in both of those companies?
I've always been in B2B marketing and demand
Okay.
gen,
Okay.
whether as a leader, executive, or actually doing the work. Um, yeah.
Understood. So let me go backwards here for a little bit, just because I think I'm at oh no, wait, hold on a second. I'm going to go backwards here because this is something that I want to make sure that we are all grounded in. And I know, Melody, Doris, and Nicole, I don't think you were on when I showed this slide. This to me is front and center as to why we're doing this all week, which is to find, and Nicole, it almost exactly lines up with what you just said. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? What can you be paid well for? And what does the world need? And if you hit that bullseye, everybody wins. You first, and then everybody else. It's like when you're on a plane and they say, put your own mask on before you put somebody else's on. This is that time as it relates to your career. You're putting your own mask on to make sure that you find the right type of position. And when you're fulfilled, and I've heard that word several times here tonight, when you're fulfilled, everything else falls into place. Okay. So let me go back down to where we were. Oh, by the way, and well, no, I'll get to that in another time. I'm going to go back down to the slides where we have.
Are you
By the
are you sharing your screen? Because I'm not seeing any slides.
And
Are they somewhere else?
um the slides I've been sharing the whole time, and if you haven't been seeing
Okay.
Melody, can you see them, Nicole?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll have to go looking then.
I'll get you. What I'm going to do, Doris, is I'm going to send you and I'll do this for the rest of you as well, but I'll send you the Zoom link so you can watch the recording. Okay, you can watch it at a quicker speed if you want. And just, I'll put this out there. Some of you may be interested, some of you may not, but if you want a lifetime YouTube access to these recordings, and a copy of my ebook and a bonus one-on-one call at the end of the week. That's what I call the VIP, which is $47. If you decide to work with me and we develop a program or something afterwards, this 47 would go towards that. But at this point, we've done one night, but we're going to get into a lot of detail on the other aspects of job search in the next 4 nights. And if you want to have access to it, you certainly are able to do that. And just let me know, just send me an email or a text message, one or the other. So that is what I have for tonight. Any thoughts or questions or things that have come up for you as we've been going through? Again, this is very much the intro. This is all about purpose. This is all about defining what it is that you want to be doing and why. And when I'm working with clients directly, I have 7 different exercises that I go through, and they're very sequential in terms of getting to the point of what am I doing or what I want to do next in my career and why. And it uses a whole lot of frameworks that I've borrowed. Some of them I made up, and then the combination usually gives us some pretty good answers. Thoughts, questions?
I might not be able to make it Thursday, or I might tune in at 8:30. It depends on my schedule that day. Will the recording be available for me for that to review at home?
Yes. And also, you're going to come in right about the time when we're doing interview questions. Okay. So day 4 is about interviewing and negotiating. So just jump on whenever you can. Don't worry about that. And you can catch the initial part when I'm recording this on Zoom, and I'll get a link that I can send you. It'll have a link in the password that you can do this. And the reason why I'm saying this is if you want to have access to it, that access will be taken down probably Tuesday of next week. But if you want to have access for whatever period of time and you want to have unlimited access, that's what I was just referring to before.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Is the homework clear? Do I need to email it, or is it everybody have either a screenshot or you jotted down what it is that's going on with it?
I don't have a screenshot, so please.
I will do that. I'll put it into an email then, Doris. Okay.
And is the Zoom on all of I have this on my calendar every night of the week. I just want to make sure I'm on the right Zoom.
It's the same Zoom every night.
Okay.
The problem that I'll take full responsibility for is I didn't communicate Zoom. Like when you use Google Calendar, it automatically gives you a Google Meets.
That's where we were.
And that's
what it was.
When Doris came on, I'm like, oh man. Even though it says where and my link is clear in there, it's second to the Google Meets, which again, apologies for, but it's the same Zoom link each of the 5 nights.
Thank you.
Okay. Pleasure meeting all of you, although I have met most of you before, and having you in this space. And I will review the notes that I took about what each of you are looking for and make sure that I highlight those for the following 4 days as we go through this, and we'll take it from there. Any other thoughts, questions?
No thoughts or questions, but I will say I am excited. I feel like anytime you reach a point where rather it's financial or you're feeling like you're looking for something, it's always a blessing in disguise. So I'm excited. I guess we'll just see what this has to offer for me. And I feel like, it's good to be in searching. I think sometimes it feels like it can feel sad or it can feel like frustrating, but it's always a good outcome. So I'm just pretty excited about it. That's all I have to share.
You're probably expressing the sentiments of everybody else on the call with a big smile. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and again, I will say this, and I think this was before Doris, Nicole, and Melody got on the call. I've had periods of extended unemployment or underemployment, and I will do everything I can to mitigate or shorten the time frame of anybody that I'm working with because of the experiences I've had. And I put a lot of the toolbox together in order to be able to do that, number one. And there's a lot of mindset that goes along with it. So, Imani, when you say those quote unquote kinds of uncertainty type things with a big grin on your face, that makes all the difference. Okay.
Yeah.
It absolutely makes all the difference. And it's all about having the attitude of gratitude to say, okay, I may not be where I want to be, but I know that I'm making the steps toward where I want to go.
Yes, and also like I know I'm young and all, but I also don't want to, I don't think anybody should leave the world in a mindset or situation where it was your mind was on like I know we all try to like make our living and bills and just our basic needs, but I feel like you should be able to be happy and enjoy the world and not let the world take you from who you are or like your happiness and your spirit. And so, that's kind of why my attitude is how it is, so yeah.
Well, I couldn't end the conversation with any better summary than that, because that approach is going to take you a long way. Okay.
Thank you
With
so
that,
much.
oh, you're welcome. With that, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central, with the Zoom link that you'll have in the invitation, not the Google Meets. And I'm looking forward. One of the first things we're going to do is we're going to go through the homework. Okay, we're going to spend several minutes on that. And if you're comfortable sharing, great. If you're not, that's fine too. But just know that by giving yourself the grace to just answer those simple questions, you'll be putting yourself, I don't want to say on the yellow brick road, but putting yourself on the pathway
Oh, come on.
to, well, I could say that, but you're putting yourself on the pathway that will get you to the destination that will be very, very fulfilling. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. With that, I will sign off. When I get the Zoom link, Doris, I will send it to you and I'll email you the homework. Actually, I'm going to email everybody the homework in the meantime. Just make it consistent, and then we will go from there. If you have any thoughts or questions during the day, feel free to text or email me. Text is better. I see that immediately. If you're getting stuck with any of it, that's the reason why you need to reach out to me. Feel free to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Nicole and
Yeah.
Melody, nice talking to you in the other world.
You
We
too.
got to know each other very well.
That's it. That's it. All right. Have a good
Bye.
evening, everybody.
Good night.
Have a good night.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bill.
Bye now.
Take care. Bye.